Geography and public administration.
May I come in, sir?
Yes, please. Come.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Please sit down.
Yes.
Please sit down. Now introduce yourself.
Pull up the chair, otherwise you will not be audible.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So my name is Abhijit Rajendra Raut. I am from Buldana, Maharashtra. I have done my graduation in biotechnology from Vidya Pratishthan's Arts, Science and Commerce College, Baramati, which is affiliated to University of Pune. Then I pursued my post-graduation in biotechnology with a specialization in plant genomics at Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. And my hobbies are blogging, cycling and fast bowling.
And you have taken geography and public administration.
Yes, sir.
So what have you studied in public administration?
Public administration gave me a chance to study the basic administrative thought, what are the current trends and the evolution of public administration as a discipline and as a practical thing. Then we studied various new emerging trends in public administration like development administration, comparative public administration, and then the practical parts of government like financial administration or the civil services.
In geography?
In geography, basically the division is...
Because you have taken these optional subjects for only this main exam only, na?
yes, sir.
So what have you studied in that?
In geography, physical landforms, then the geography of oceans and the geography of atmosphere, and then the aspects of human geography like population, industries, etc.
So population explosion you must have studied.
Yes, sir.
So how to control population explosion in our country?
So it has been said that development is the best contraceptive. So first and foremost thing is development, but it is a long term. It is a long term aspect. So we have to think of some short term and medium term measures. For example, we can create awareness. We can also control the inequality of population distribution by balancing the regional development, so that some areas are becoming more excluded, like Mumbai. So a balanced regional development will also help to curb population explosion.
But population itself, means we talk about population as a problem with us, but China has taken population itself as a this thing boon for themselves, and they have converted it, used human resources, and they have developed.
Yes.
So where we went wrong in that, in our planning?
So I think the basic problem was that the same thing as you suggested, that initially we looked at our booming population as a problem and not as a what we can say an asset. But now we are slowly moving towards this, and especially since the term demographic dividend has arrived, we have now accepted that our population can be a huge asset for us. But the population needs to be literate, and it needs to have some basic skills. So with these skill development programs and all the literacy and other initiatives for human development, we hope to turn our population into a long-term and sustainable asset.
Public administration.
So actually the basic idea of administration in a country like India,
Yes.
so as I feel it is welfare of the people.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any difference of opinion on that?
Yes, so the basic structure remains the same. We are welfare state.
Welfare of the people. So India in that sense is a welfare state.
Yes, sir.
So differentiate between a welfare state and any other kind of state.
Sir, apart from welfare state, there is a police state, there is a revenue state. A police state will mainly focus on just the law and order, and the state, the only function will be to control the people so that they do not come out and overthrow the political system. It can be autocratic, or even sometimes it may be democratic. In a revenue state, the prime function is just revenue collection, so that the ruling agency, it gets benefited, and the welfare of people comes later on. But a welfare state, as it is enshrined in our constitution through various means, the basic thing is that the people, the normal public of the state or the country, it is at the forefront, and for having any problem or any initiative from the government side, we are planning it such that this most common of the all will be benefited, so that the welfare of each and everybody is ensured.
So the reference point center of actually concentration and all attention are people.
Yes, sir.
So, and you have as an emerging trend in actually administration as development administration.
Yes, sir.
Development of whom?
Sir,
Development, that word as we understand, or as the so-called expert they use, So if you go for industrialization, that is the only index of development. And say, how do you react to that actually? Whose development it is?
So I feel development is not a true development until and unless it is sustainable and it is all encompassing.
Sustainable development, what
yes,
is
sir.
that?
Sustainable development is something that a development whose benefit will be reaped by all and for a long term. It will not be like industrial development as you suggested. Industrial development might give employment and generation of other resources for a few generations, but later on they might pose problem if they are not regulated properly. But in sustainable development, we ensure that even our future generations, they are not deprived of all the resources and what are their birthrights as a human being. So we have to consider that thing also.
There is a very important dimension to sustainable development, which is very major concern in contemporary debate. What is that?
So I guess you are referring to climate change debate. So in that, sustainable development means where developed and developing countries, they have equal platform for getting developed, and the responsibility is shared by everyone, but according to their capabilities. We have the principle of common,
there
but
should be no environmental damage actually.
yes,
That is actually a major thing.
yes.
Yes, I was quite impressed by what you spoke about the population.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I would like you to impress me more. So I'm going to ask you a question about what is the solution to urban migration problem.
Sir, I feel the problem of urban migration, its solution lies in the rural areas. We have to empower the rural whole system. Sir, first thing is we have to decentralize the employment hubs. Currently, if you take Maharashtra, we have Pune, Mumbai, and to some extent Nashik and Aurangabad as the hubs. But if we relocate these industries to some other small places, for example, Nanded or Amravati or Usmanabad, then the flow of people from rural areas to urban will be diverted to the second-tier cities. Secondly, urban migration, as such, we have to manage the overall skill capacities of the people who are migrating. If the migration is of skilled people, then it is regulated automatically by the overall economy, and it will be beneficial for both, so that these people, when they go back to their source region, they will go back with their knowledge. But the real problem lies with unskilled laborers who actually suffer themselves a lot because of this migration. So skill development can be another answer.
You have heard about certain political leaders saying that we don't want certain states and people to work in Maharashtra,
Yes, sir.
son of the soil and all that. How do you, as a bureaucrat, if they come to power, oppose it?
Sir, I strongly believe that India as a nation is a one unit, so that, and our constitution also gives us the right. So
What
every,
do you say tomorrow? You have to have a visa to come from Bihar to Maharashtra.
sir, I think it would be very wrong to have such a visa system.
But what would you do as a bureaucrat? You are under a political class.
Sir, if at all such policy is placed, I will try to.
Resign.
Yes, sir.
You will resign.
No, sir. I will try to convince the leader first, so that whatever my policy advocacy skills are there, I will try to employ it and tell him that other states which are sending, or the people who are coming from other state, they are also contributing to our state's economy. So that we cannot say that this state is only for the people of this state or the sons of soil. This is a globalized economy, and as far as the nation is concerned, we cannot alienate some state from other. So we have to permit such interstate flows.
Okay. How do you resolve the massive energy gap that is existing? People want electricity, there is no electricity. How will you solve that problem?
So the best and sustainable option will be renewable energy sources, but it will again take a long time. So primarily, currently, if we can get nuclear energy with all the adequate safeguards, and with convincing people that it is for their welfare that nuclear energy will be coming, and we will be safeguarding the people. So in short term, it will be a good solution. But we have to focus on long-term sources like solar energy or wind energy, which we can develop over time.
You heard of Long Island crisis on the nuclear front? Long Island. There was a major crisis.
Yes, sir.
You heard of Chernobyl?
Yes, sir.
Supposing something like that happens at Tarapur, Bombay is over.
So there is always a possibility for disaster, but what we can do is that we can.
Even Baroda will be over. Bombay to Baroda is a study done by General Eustace D'Souza. He said it's ground zero. If there is a crisis like Shelibol in Tarapur, we are finished. And you still want atomic energy?
So atomic energy, it is like if we regulate it properly.
You think they were unregulated, Shelibol?
So there must be something problematic
So
there.
there is such a thing as human error.
Yes, sir.
So should there not be a doctrine of better safe than sorry?
So, but safe than sorry is one thing, but that means we should not stall our developmental progress.
But
Because
therefore we must choose atomic energy. Why not wind energy? Why not solar energy? Renewable sources, I agree with you. You have not touched upon these two sources. Think,
sir, they will take a lot of time, and
why should they take? There are, do you know in a lake, are you aware of Maharashtra geography? Maharashtra geography.
Yes, sir.
In a lake called Walvan at Lonavala. In that lake, go and have a look. They may not allow you, but if you get a permission, go and have a look.
Yes, sir.
Tatas have put in solar floating cells. That is why Bombay is getting full power. Floating on the lake. So they are using the water, but in addition to that, they have put solar cells. Was it not an instant solution?
Sir, it is an instant solution.
Yes.
Even Gujarat has come up with the Patan solar plant.
Yes.
But our population and demand is so much that we need a far more encompassing solution.
No, I am talking of not demand saturation. I am talking of focused demand, like industry demand, agricultural demand, domestic demand. That should be met. It is
Yes,
not
sir.
being met. And it's cascading.
Yes, sir.
Oil bill is shooting up. So the amount of money that you spend on oil bill, if you were to put in this renewable sources, our balance of payment position is solved. And deficit financing is of yesterday.
Yes, it will have economic consequences as well.
So you should say that as an answer.
Yes, sir. Even the carbon credits.
Yes, carbon credits. So you should say this as an answer, because this is a question that will come in the finals.
Yes, sir.
About blogging as a hobby,
Yes, sir.
do you support internet censorship?
No, sir. I personally don't support internet censorship.
But recently government has banned Arvindam Chaudhary's sites if it have gone through.
Yes, sir.
So was it a right step?
So I don't feel that was a right step because everybody has the right to express, and especially blog or the blogosphere is the thing where it is a symbol of the freedom of expression of the modern day community, wherein everyone can put his views or her views in front of a wide range
What
of audience.
Arvindam was doing was like dumping his own profile and they were marketing himself like so.
Yes.
Government think it's all against marketing or monopolistic type of situation.
Yes, sir.
So in that case, will you justify it?
So, but even in that case, there can be other mechanism rather than outright censorship. There should be warnings given to that person whoever is doing such things, and we can have a kind of quota of marketing that no excessive marketing, but outright censorship I don't support.
Okay. About fast bowling, have to do Dusra.
Yes, sir.
What is Dusra?
So Dusra is actually a variation in spin bowling, wherein the bowler balls with the finger split, and the turn is such that the batsman gets deceived, that he thinks the ball is going on the leg stump, but the ball goes away from the stumps.
Okay. How many Dusras are allowed in the over?
So
Are
I'm
they
not,
legal or illegal? Like?
so Dusra is legal, but at the same time the hand movement, the stretching of hand should not be more than 15 degrees. So with that condition, Dusra is allowed.
No, in that case, means how many Dusra? All the 7 balls you can have Dusra then?
So I'm not exactly aware, but I feel there is no such limit on Dusras.
So after the Muthai Muralidharan, any other special player to play the Dusra today?
So I think Saeed Ajmal bowls good Dusras.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.